What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we have the original Supershoe that's designed for podiums and PRs, the Nike Vaporfly Next 3. Before we dive into this shoe, let's talk about some preliminary things, starting with the price point. This shoe comes in at a whopping $250. For a men's size 10.5, we have 7.1 lightweight ounces or 200 grams. Additionally, when it comes to the specs of this shoe, we have a 40 millimeters in the heel, 32 millimeters in the forefoot, giving us that 8 millimeter heel to toe drop. Now that the introductory things are out of the way, let's take a deep dive into this Supershoe, starting with the upper. So as you can see on this upper, we have a beautiful design, a Flyknit upper, which is composed of Flyknit yarn. I want you to take a look really closely at this upper material. Let's see, zoom in right here. There we go. You can see that this upper is composed of a Flyknit yarn, and there are spots across this upper that if you look really closely, you can see are a little bit different than others. You have bigger holes here, smaller holes here, bigger holes here, smaller holes here. The reason for that is Nike has done an engineered zoning of this yarn. Basically, what they've done is they've placed these holes in this position to increase breathability in that specific area on your foot. This upper is very lightweight, very breathable, very durable, and honestly, it's pretty strong. I was surprised at just how firm it is, even though it is a yarn material. Let's move on to the tongue of this shoe. So I want you to notice something. First thing about this tongue. It is massive. This tongue is very wide, very awkward. It is non-gusseted, and as you can see, it is curved. We have this curvature kind of going on here, straight up here, curving down, and going around. You should be able to take a look on the inside of that. This is what you get. When it comes to padding on this tongue, you do have a little padding right here, and you should be able to see the outline. Some padding right here and some right here. Nothing too fancy, but it is pretty breathable. So you can see right here, you do have some breathability on the top of your foot, but not so much on the top of the tongue. Regarding this shoe not being a gusseted tongue, the only thing that we have to hold the tongue up and to have a tongue lock here is there is a section right here on the middle of the tongue where the laces can run through. So as you can see on top of the shoe, we have an offset lacing. So it doesn't go straight down, it kind of curves off to the right. And with that being said, this is where I had an awkwardness on the tongue because I kept feeling this part of the tongue kind of want to rise up and not have a place to go. It was just a little homeless part of this tongue that just kept, floating around. And honestly, it didn't work well for me. I did not like that about this tongue. I think it was too big and it was awkward in shape. Let's turn it on back to the heel counter on this shoe. This heel counter worked very well for me. I wanted you to be able to see on the inside of what we got here. So notice right here, we have padding. This padding runs around the heel near the Achilles, and it felt good. It is super soft, super cushiony. And here is the heel counter design. Basically, having it running up right there. A little bit of material, not really doing much. And then you have the offset heel seam. Notice right here, it doesn't just go straight down, it's offset. And that's to reduce friction on that Achilles heel part of your foot. So when it comes to this heel counter, it is a very supported structure-like heel counter here. I want you to take a look at this. You can see very supportive, very structured right in this area. And kind of here, as I go to squeeze in here, it is very hard right here, not as hard up here, and not as hard right here. But right in this area, it is super supportive, and you see obviously the offset of the seam on the heel counter. Let's take a trip on down to the midsole train on this shoe. I'm telling you what, this midsole felt so good. So what you have here is you have the ZoomX foam. It is Nike's most responsive foam, and it is so comfortable. I want you to look at this right here. We have a little bit of a like a dual layered here. So this is a little bit harder, a little bit more, or this is a little bit softer, a little bit firmer right in this area. And we have under here the fly plate running through the shoe. It's a full length carbon fiber plate running all the way through the shoe. And you can see it right in this section right there. So full length carbon fiber plate running all the way through the shoe with a combination of the ZoomX foam. And I'm telling you what, it felt great. So I did want to note something about the geometry of this shoe when it comes to the midsole and the ZoomX foam. There is a bit of a structure problem for me, and this is something that I noticed in this shoe. It felt great, and I thoroughly enjoyed the comfort, the cushion, the energy return, and the fly plate, carbon fiber plate that I had going on here. But I had a stability problem when it came to the geometry. And as you can see right here, we have a wider section in the toe box, and it gets very narrow through here, okay? So you see it this way, very wide here, very narrow here. What happened is that my foot wanted to constantly fall over. I'm not sure why. I'm a neutral runner. I don't really need a stability shoe or anything like that. But I think it's because the expansion in the toe box and basically just how it's so wide in this area and so narrow in this area that I just did not have a lot of stability in the midfoot section. Last but not least, let's talk about the outsole on this Supershoe. So you see we have a completely new design when it comes to the rubberized outsole. We have a very thin layer of rubber running through here, through the toe box, nothing on the midfoot, and we have two little sections right here of foam. So on the outsole, we have a new waffle outsole pattern that is being utilized for this shoe, and it works pretty well. I noticed it increased the traction. It was pretty stable under my foot, and obviously I do believe that it would increase the longevity of this shoe. There is something I want to show you right here. This section right here, let's see if we can get it. This section right here, it's exposed ZoomX foam. This whole section is exposed. The plate is exposed, and right here, and look what happened. Look at that. There is really not a lot of rubberized outsole on the midfoot heel section of this shoe. That's kind of scary to me, considering the fact that it just takes a couple runs and I already have damage to my shoe because of that. So I would have liked to see a little bit more rubberized outsole. Obviously the cost would be the weight, but again, 7.1 ounces, we can gain just a couple ounces and be fine, I think. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in to my channel. I hope you found the content helpful on the Nike Vaporfly Next % 3. If you would do me a favor, hit this like button, comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on this shoe. Is it worth the money? Do you like the updates? What are your concerns or your thoughts regarding this shoe? How are you going to use this shoe in your rotation? Comment down below. And as always, guys, until next time, aim high.